Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock, and today I'm really pleased to be joined by Sam Hyde. Sam is a director of Hyde Engineering, and they have a dedication to delivering an extensive range of innovative engineering and advanced manufacturing solutions to multiple sectors. Their expertise extends from workholding and rapid prototyping to handling projects encompassing low to medium volume quantities and complete batch subcontract CNC machining services. So welcome, Sam. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Having me.
So I see you on LinkedIn quite a bit. Hyde Engineering and both yourself are really proactive and putting some great content out there about supporting UK manufacturing. And you and your husband Mark started Hyde Engineering in 2013. So 10 years now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you started it due to a eureka moment. Do you want to explain a bit more about where you saw a gap in the market?
Yeah, so Mark's been an engineer and I've worked in engineering pretty much all my career as well. And he was a manufacturing engineer for a number of years. And he found it really frustrating that when he was trying to go out there to market for the company he was at, trying to get all these services from one place to shorten the supply chain and make the manufacturing processes easier. And it was really difficult to find a one-stop shop, somebody that could really partner with a company and deliver everything like a full solution, if you like. And so for him, that was kind of we could do that. We could do that. So, but we didn't just go out there straight away and start it. We kind of started small. So initially, Mark went out there with his engineering background, winning small and subcontracting out from an engineering services perspective to start with, and then that kind of grew with more interest involved in whether we could get parts made as well, or the work holding and fixturing, which was kind of where it first started. And then eventually that just continued to grow to people wanting parts. And so from that point in time, we had one client come to us who we'd been working with for a complete turnkey solution of giving them a green button process and providing all of the work holding. And they had just received confirmation from their customer that they wanted them to double their numbers. And so they spoke to Mark and said, right, okay, we don't have that capacity here. We need to find somebody that can make these. Do you want to make them? And so it was like, oh, okay. So can you give us an idea on timelines of when you need us to be up and running? And they were like, okay, so by end of January, we'd need something up and running. So we decided to give it a try. And on Christmas Eve, they gave us the purchase order. And so we had a Christmas spent running around trying to find facilities, ordering machines. And so by January last year, we had our facility opened up, first machine land in the new year, and then that was it. Then prove the parts out and get up and running. And so it started with, I guess, off reputation more than anything else, and project management. So yes, and that's how the machine shop came to be.
And so you took advantage of a gap in the market, and combined with your reputation and the service that you'd given prior to that, it sort of created something really unique with Hyde Engineering. Have you found that other companies have started to copy you?
I think I've noticed perhaps more the way that they're communicating about their services has perhaps changed a little bit, and they're trying to add things on maybe that are a little bit similar. So yeah, I think people are like, I get what they're doing now.
Well, flattery is sort of like, a really good compliment, isn't it? Or,
Yes, obviously.
it really, copying is the highest form of flattery or something like that. So obviously you said Mark was a manufacturing engineer, and you started at RTI International Metals, and you had quite a long career with them, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So It kind of precedes that a little in that I'd always worked in sort of like a manufacturing environment. I'd done a traineeship in an after for a ele electric gearbox company for cars. And so I'd done my national traineeship with them. And after I left there, I then went and worked in, after doing just basic some admin, sales admin, and then went and did some sales admin for a laminate floor manufacturer. And so I went to RTI and started out as just a secretary to the general manager, was kind of where that started. And I'd been talking to them about how I'd had an interest in law and within business, and so they sponsored me to do a law degree there, and eventually that resulted in me taking on little bits of legal type work with them in terms of HR. So it then transpired into me going with them from being just their HR administrator right the way through to being European HR manager by the end of my tenure there, yeah.
That's quite a climb up the ladder in 10 years, isn't it? From
Yes,
secretary to the general manager to international HR manager, and you did a degree at the same time.
yes.
Um, one of the things that I find from sort of talking to a lot of the brilliant women that have been on this podcast is there's always something that they've sort of done on the sideline, like a degree or volunteering and things like that, that actually benefits their role that they're in now. So on the practical side, you've got your law degree. So when it comes to the HR of Hyde Engineering and things like that, even do you outsource it? Do you do it personally?
Still do it personally. So at the minute, yeah, it's I think these days with the excitement of business and strategy and just general engineering, it's perhaps not my favourite role anymore. But yeah, I think being able to, I think having this being our own company, we have the advantage of being able to shape everything about it. So even from the HR side, we get to say how we want to build the company, the values, and how we want to treat our employees. So that's kind of really important in having that background knowledge in HR and being able to really put some of the ideals of a workplace into practice.
And culture is really important, particularly in SMEs. Um, I mean, I've got some great team members who've worked here for sort of, donkey's years, decades and decades and decades. Um, and valuing them is obviously something that not only do we do, but we want to make sure that they're aware of, because being in the West Midlands, every now and again, JLR opens something else and offers, um, an apprenticeship at 50 grand a year or something silly that, we can't compete with. So do you and Mark have a strategy for the culture that you want to bring in, or is it evolved over time and then become more defined?
What we tried to do actually was involve the staff that we had. So we specifically, I mean, I did the Help to Grow management course that was obviously sponsored by the government. And a part of that was being able to access a mentor once you'd finished the learning part. And we found ourselves an absolutely fabulous mentor who came in and facilitated a session for us, because we were very much aware that we needed to establish what we wanted to be, what we wanted the culture of the business to be, but also what was important to our employees. So he came in with us, and he facilitated a session, and every single member of the staff team was involved in that. And so we said all the things that we would like to find in an employer, in the work environment that we'd like. And so we put together 6 core values that were based around every single person's opinions. We felt the easiest way to get our staff team bought in, and with the vision of what we're trying to be at Hyde Engineering, it was important that they had a say in what that culture looked like.
That's fabulous, and I think it's such a drastic change that's happening now when it comes to working with your team members compared to what's often perceived as the traditional engineering manufacturing type industries from sort of the 60s, 70s, 80s, with a us and them, you know, people in suits, and then the people who do the real work. And it's absolutely great to get everyone's input. Obviously, you need great team members to do the work, and they need to be skilled at what they're doing. And the skill gaps often in the press. How are you overcoming the challenge?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said we weren't struggling, because we are. We're desperately trying to recruit, and like I think most engineering businesses out there, we're struggling to find people. We're having to some degree, do a lot more in the way of development internally with the people that we bring in. We're having to acknowledge that they've got skills, transferable skills, but that might not be on the same machining equipment. It might not be the same type of manufacturing, but we can, with the good team that we've got, help educate those new people that come in and give them the on-the-job experience to perhaps pick up new skills, which is a good positive development thing for them as well. And then one of the things that we're kind of planning for the future is an apprenticeship program that we're going to look at implementing from next year. So to try to then build that internally with some new young people joining us, that we can hopefully give them the career progression within engineering and manufacturing that they're looking for.
And you're obviously growing. And every time I look onto LinkedIn, you seem to be having a new machine delivered, um, which is just fabulous. And I saw one of your posts where you were in over the weekend, you'd had a new line, and you'd taken your kids in to show them the new machine. How important is blending that family and work life balance to you? Because obviously it's your business, you know, it's going to be in your head 99% of the time. How do you sort of manage that?
By involving the kids in where we can. I think, especially this day and age, it's important for children to understand where the money comes from. It doesn't come from being on YouTube. We all have to go to work. So I think it's trying to give them a practical understanding just in general about life. And with our eldest son, Jacob, he's got a massive interest in engineering as well. So it's not just us bringing them so that we can be here, it's because they actually want to be here as well. They find being able to see all of the machines really fascinating. And Jacob's got this vision for the future of where he takes over. And he's decided, much in the way of a famous Marvel character, that we're going to have Hyde Industries in the future, and it's all going to be very much robot driven with lots of automation, because he's fascinated by that idea. So yeah, I think it's about inspiring them as well, beyond just what we do, that you know, you can have a dream and you can follow that dream, which is ultimately what, you know, their parents have done. So
I love that, Hyde Industries.
watch this space.
Oh no, that's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Um, um, I must admit, I have a fascination with robotics as well. And I spoke to Nat Macaulay on a previous episode, and they'd put in a cobot, and I've still threatened to go around and see it because I really want to see it in action. But I think by involving children at primary school age, I think anything later than that, it's too late. We really need to let them know not only where the money comes from, but how everything we touch in our daily life has benefited from engineering and manufacturing. And that sort of is glossed over a bit.
No,
But we
100%
couldn't do anything without engineering and manufacturing in the Western world, could we?
No, it's definitely one thing that I think gets overlooked in general. You know, the desks we sit at, the computers we're all tapping away on, without the people that make those things, none of that exists.
particularly when they go wrong, she says, with a broken down forklift behind her left shoulder. And it's just like, no. Um, so you've brought a lot of your professional skills into Hyde Engineering, both of you. But you also have worked, or you work at the moment in a volunteer role. And you did a role with the police for the care of police survivors,
Yes.
which could you explain what that involved and how you took sort of a different path?
Yes, so I guess it stemmed ultimately from the fact that when I was younger, I actually wanted to join the police force. It was kind of what I wanted to do, but being an asthmatic at that time, that was not a career path I was able to follow. And a family member had been working at the charity, and they were after some just administration support just after I'd had our second child, and was kind of losing a little bit of myself a little bit at home and needed something to engage the brain again. And so I just went to volunteer for them, helping arrange their events. So the charity themselves, they support the families of police officers that have died on duty. And in their support is from a peer support perspective. So they bring together all of these families at very different events throughout the year, whether that be collectively all together at their main event, which is called Survivor Weekend, through to relationship groups. So they'll bring all the spouses together, all of the young children and siblings, and they give them the opportunity to be together in a nice, engaging environment, but the opportunity to be with people that completely understand what their loss that they've had, and to be able to get that just that support and understanding. So my role for them was to help arrange those events. So I would help coordinate putting on the events, finding the venues, and connecting with the families. So it was a very fulfilling role to be able to support those people.
It sounds like it. I think until you've experienced a bereavement, an unexpected bereavement, I mean, whether it's a partner or a child, we can't understand. Everyone expects the natural order of things, with grandparents, and then, as you get older, parents passing away. But having that support from people who understand and know what you're going through, particularly if it's something like, in the line of duty, it has got to be incredibly important. My nephew lost his wife, 6 months after they got married, and they were only 30. And he joined an organisation called Widowed and Young, because as much as we wanted to support, we'd got no idea what he was going through. So I think the peer support is invaluable, but you can't do that without somebody in the background making it happen and facilitating it happen. So what does your role at Hyde Engineering bring to your volunteer role, and vice versa? Do you find you get complementary skills?
Yeah, I think it's just having a bigger picture understanding of things in general, and being able to take a step back and be that here or supporting that charity, that there's a much bigger thing at play, and taking that softer approach within the charity, but then applying that here. People at work aren't robots, and so they are people, and we have to understand that everybody's going through something in life, and trying to build a supportive culture here at work. That I think is equally as important at work as what the things that we do in our personal life.
It's about the emotional intelligence, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about recognizing everybody's different. And you're right, everybody will be going through something, and if they have trust and confidence in you enough to be able to share that, that's a huge privilege, isn't it, as a, you know, an owner or a director of a business or a manager?
Yeah, we're very much a family business, you know. Obviously, Mark and I, husband and wife, you know, our kids come here, and when we say about the staff that, you know, for us, and we try and reassure them all the time that they're a part of our extended family now, you know, and that's what they are, and that's why July time we had a family day, and it kind of goes back to when we were kids. Our dad used to work at the BRD in Aldridge, which used to be which became GKN ultimately.
Yeah.
And the thing that they did was they used to have a family day. So you used to be able to go in with all of the kids used to come in, they'd have the machines up and running, they'd have little stalls set up, and so you would be able to see where dad worked, mom worked, and be a part of that. And we really valued that as kids. And a lot of places now, they don't do anything like that. You know, families aren't as integrated into the work-life community. And so we really wanted to kind of bring a little bit of that to what we did. So that's why July we had a family day where people could bring their partners, children, just to come and have a little walk around. I mean, we're not no ginormous facility or anything, but they could come and see the machines that they were working on, so that when they went home at the end of the day, and you know, we all have bad days or we all have good days and we want to talk about it, they could picture where they were, they could understand what they've been doing, and then we just enabled us all to get to know one another as well, and really solidify that more personal working relationship, which I think is important when, especially as a small business, you know, we're going to need people to buy into what we're doing, and we're all hands on deck sometimes maybe to get that order out for the month, and it needs a bit of overtime, and it's just about helping with that understanding.
And your team are going to support and celebrate you as well, just the same way that you'll support and celebrate them by having that little bit more of a close relationship. And of course, the wider manufacturing community also supports and celebrates you, because you both were named in the Manufacturer Top 100 this year, weren't you?
We were, yes,
I can
much
see the
to
little
our
awards
shock.
behind you. What did that mean?
Oh, I can't even tell you when the email came through, and we were like, what's this all about? I mean, wow, just to have been nominated by peers, and it was a phenomenal feeling that they'd seen our little family business, you know, in 18 months grow and then put us forward. Yeah, it was very humbling, to say the least, very humbling.
And is it going to be the first of many awards? Are you going to enter some others?
Well, we have entered. We have also been shortlisted. So,
Excellent. Tell us about that.
oh gosh, nerves, very much butterflies. So we applied for the Manufacturers Leadership and Strategy Award for this year, and we've been shortlisted. So we were visited by a judging panel not so long ago that came and took a tour, which was really interesting, and they were able to give some really good feedback as well, which we can take away and hopefully do and improve, continue to improve. And then we also applied for SME of the Year with Make UK as members of that organisation, and we've also been shortlisted for that award as well. So
Oh, wow. So
shortlisting for 2 out of 2 is not too bad, really.
that's really good. I mean, there are hundreds of companies that enter both of these. So it's to be shortlisted on both is a phenomenal achievement.
We already feel like we've won, to be fair, because yeah, to even make it that far with the caliber of companies that apply for these awards is quite scary.
Oh, it's something that there's always something you can take away from the process. You
Yeah.
mentioned the judging panel and you know the feedback that they gave you. Um, it's also about when you sort of fill in the forms, you recognise actually we've achieved quite a bit. And then if you can share that with the team, they're proud of it as well. So it's sort of like this continuous circle of pride and enthusiasm that sort of just keeps echoing through, isn't it?
Yes, so definitely, definitely. And we're actually two members of staff are going to attend the Make UK ones on our behalf as well, so that they also get to kind of be there and experience and do that networking piece as well. Because I think it's important for staff to be able to be there and do that too, because it's their achievement as much as ours.
Definitely. No, I agree completely. I have one final question for you, Sam. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, that's a question. I think definitely believe in yourself, and if you have got an interest in something, follow that, because you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing something you love. And I think people go out can get a bit detracted sometimes with day-to-day grind, but I think if you can just find a little spark of something that you love in what you do, you'll never feel like you're going to work.
Exactly. It's when you get into that almost like flow state, and then I tend to stand up and go a bit dizzy and realise I've been here since 6:30 and it's 2:45 and I've not eaten anything yet.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me, Sam.
Oh
And
no,
congratulations on being shortlisted for the Make UK Award and the Manufacturer Award. And fingers crossed that you are victorious in both.
thank you so much. Thank you, Kirsty. Thank you.